is time for a new tier list, as this was heavily requested in my comments. I was just kind of busy, you know, uploading a ton of Exit Racer and Drivelins videos, but now finally we are going into a new tier list. As always, I have two. On top we have the top and bot path tier list, and on the bottom we have the Central Area tier list, because I have to split them up both, because the tier list doesn't really make sense to have it all in one. Because I could put Cinder Ace in A tier, because it's good in Central Area, but if you just look into a tier list and there's only one, you have no idea what it stands for. Someone is just gonna see Cinder Ace in A tier, and they think Cinder Ace is just an A tier Pokemon, when it's clearly not, depending on the situation. So as always, in my latest tier list, I always just did them by role, which I think makes the most sense. So we start with Attacker Pokemon. We have Venusaur, which I think when it comes to top and bot path is not the greatest Pokemon right now. I think Solar Beam, of course, is great and very fun. I think B+ is definitely fair. The main thing I got buffed last patch was Pellet Dance and Giga Drain, which is a more of a Central Area build, and I think it's definitely a solid A tier when it comes to Central Area. Pikachu is still very annoying. It's just a super good counter pick into so many. I run into Voltec Pikachu almost every single game. Absolutely painful to play against, which it didn't exist. But here we are. But in Central Area, of course, you should not be playing Pikachu in any shape or form. Then we already have Raichu, the newest Pokemon, of course. Haven't really made a tier list with ALOLAN RAICHU yet, but I think this is a no-brainer. It goes S tier in both on every single build. If you play Storm Power, Psychic, it's S tier. If you play Electro Ball or Thunderbolt, it's S tier. And even Stored Power and Thunderbolt is probably also S tier. It's a nice hybrid build. And then we have Psychic with Electro Ball, which is probably like A tier maybe. I really don't like that one at all, because it's kind of weird to play. It has some synergy, but in the end, not all too much. Ninetales is pretty annoying. I think it's a solid B+ in both builds. Maybe Veil is sometimes a bit better, but it's very difficult to carry on Veil. Very difficult. In Central Area, can't really recommend. Goes into B tier. Can of course still be played with Veil as a jungler, but yeah, of course not really recommended. Mewtwo Y is still pretty annoying, but I feel like after the last nerf, it definitely is not A+ or S tier anymore, but a solid A tier. And in Central Area, I really cannot recommend it. It's one of the worst Central Area Pokemon, because like it literally just cannot farm wild Pokemon. It's good in top and bot path, because you can always attack enemies and just build up your Mega Evolution over and over again, and you don't really have to farm all too much. So yeah, I mean, it's just a struggle to actually clear the jungle. Cannot recommend playing it in Central Area. Mew isn't all too bad, but I still can't put it higher than B+, just because, for the reason that Mew is a weird Pokemon in solo queue. In Central Area, it can also be played. It goes next to Mewtwo Y. It can be played. These are all like very optional Central Area Pokemon. Like C is pretty much you shouldn't play, and B is like in Central Area you can, but there's definitely better options. And A is just anything that could be meta, and definitely a good choice. Alright. Then we have Espeon, which in my opinion is still solid A. Doesn't matter which bit you go, Psyshock, Stored Power with Psybeam. Just don't play Future Sight, I would say. It's a solid Pokemon. Same for Central Area. It can be played, but there's definitely better options out there. Gardevoir, Moonblast, Psyshock, solid build, B+, but I can't really put it higher than that. And Central Area goes next to Venusaur as a solid A tier Central Area Pokemon. Glaceon and Path is pretty bad. It's not as C, because it's still level 4, level 6 is early power spikes, but I can't really recommend playing it in top and bot path, while in Central Area it still shines a lot. It really needs level 10 though. Like before level 10 it's hard to de-damage. Icy Wind in top and bot path doesn't really work. Icy Spear is fine, but before level 6, which can sometimes take a while, also pretty difficult. And again, Icy Spear also needs level 10, so that's why the rating is a bit lower right here. Chandelure, just another solid mage. Can be very vulnerable to dive. We do have Imprison, so yeah. And in Central Area, A or B? It's a difficult choice, honestly. I guess it's something between. I always have less tiers for the Central Area, because there's also less Central Area Pokemon. So I don't think it makes too much sense to have like a billion tiers right here. Also, I feel like it would clump up my screen a bit too much. It's already, you know, don't have much space left right here. Yeah, I mean, I think it's... If I put Gardevoir into it, I think it's pretty similar with Imprison, and Flamethrower is kind of similar. You know, Overheat, Imprison is pretty much a Psyshock, Moonblast. I mean, they're the same Pokemon. Psyshock, Moonblast, the same as Overheat and Imprison. I definitely like Flamethrower more though, which is similar to Future Sight. In the end, I mean, these two are pretty much the same Pokemon. If you think Psychic is Poltergeist and stuff, so yeah. But I think A is a bit too high, honestly. So put it into B tier, because it's just a bit vulnerable right now in the current meta. And yeah, I think even in top and bot path, I think I would have put it in B. But you can definitely play. Again, B means if you play good on this Pokemon, you can definitely do them. So you can definitely play it if you want to. Delphox right now, I think, struggles a lot, especially in top and bot path. Of course, Fire Spin is annoying, but it just needs so much experience. And in central area, it's vulnerable to Speedsters, which are still popular, vulnerable to Mimikyu, vulnerable to getting invaded. It is pretty difficult to play Delphox in its current state, as it just needs too much experience. Greninja, I usually put it also like, I mean, it so heavily depends on having XP share. If you have an XP share Pokemon, or you need like another high damage leader later on that has a lot of sustained damage, then these are pretty tanky. You can play Water Shuriken, Greninja in top and bot path, but make sure you have a strong lane partner. If you have a strong lane partner, go somewhere here, otherwise it's like down here. So I'm going to put it into C still, but I think in central area, it's a solid A+, honestly. I think Greninja is pretty good, especially after the Speedsters got a bit of a nerf. So, yeah. Sylveon currently feels absolutely awful to play, but I don't think I can put it lower than B tier. It just heavily depends on the enemy draft. And in central area, I currently cannot recommend it. I tried some Mystical Fire. I wanted to make a Mystical Fire Drivelens video, but oof, man, I don't know. Sylveon just felt awful to play. Decidueye, similar to Greninja, do you have a strong lane partner that has XP share as well? Then it can be up here. If you don't, it's even down here. So I'm going to put it into the middle. Again, I can't really put having XP share as a lane partner into this tier list, otherwise it would look much different. You can pretty much play almost any Pokemon in top or bot path if you have someone with XP share there. But then I would also have to make an XP share tier list to say, yeah, but this Pokemon is still so much better having XP share lane partner, right? So it's pretty difficult. XP share is such a strong item that makes it very difficult to rank. In my opinion, the Decidueye is a solid A tier central area Pokemon, but only with Spirit Shackle, Razor Leaf somewhere down here. Then we have Cinderace, got nerfed a lot, and again, currently in top and bot path, I wouldn't pick it at all, not even a single bit. And I think also in central area, it has dropped a good amount again, down into B tier. Wouldn't really recommend playing Cinderace currently. Inteleon, in my opinion, still S tier when it comes to top and bot path, and A+ easily in central area, with Liquidation and Snipe Shot in central area, and in top and bot path only with Snipe Shot though. Do not play Liquidation in top and bot path, please. It's not very good. It needs a lot of experience. It needs to be very high in level for Liquidation to actually do damage. And you also, you lose low blast hitting if you don't have Snipe Shot. Cram, pretty mid. Not gonna lie, but I think B tier next to these other mages right here. And similar in central area. I mean, honestly, Cram is not too bad, but still. Honestly, Drivelens is decent though with it. Drivelens is definitely decent. I feel like maybe we need a B+ right here. Yeah, it's slowly feeling like we need a B+ tier, but yeah, I think B as well. Definitely. Duraludon, it's just, again, too many Speedsters that are pretty good, even though they got nerfed again. Duraludon, I mean, I don't know. Duraludon is such a weird Pokemon. No one wants to play it. I don't think anyone cares. I'm just going to put it somewhere. I don't think any of you is going to care anyways. Dragapult, definitely not in top and bot path, while in central area, it's, I mean, Phantom Force is decent. If you want to pick something like Cinderace, I would rather probably pick the Dragapult with Phantom Force, honestly. Okay, 1 second. Let me make a B+ tier. I know the space looks a bit weird, but like I was tired, and we need a B+ tier for sure, because there's some Pokemon that definitely is still a bit better than others right here that I would prefer having in central area. So let's put it like this, add a B+ into it. I think that makes a bit more sense. I'm not gonna remember it for next time again. Amarouche in top and bot path, not a big fan of it. Yeah, I think it's definitely better in central area, where I'm gonna put it into A tier, Fire Spin and Psyshock, I think. And here, Dragapult also goes into B+, Duraludon goes into B+, and I think now it looks already much better. In my opinion, at least. Let me know in the comments if you think this was a reasonable choice to make. And then we have Miraidon, which has fallen off a lot. And I think it's like barely A tier in top and bot path. Still, I mean, you can see attacker Pokemon is still not the greatest, I'm gonna be honest. And in central area as well. I mean, probably still A+. Electrodrift is still very good. And if you get a lot of experience and Drivelens is well existing, it's definitely a strong Pokemon. Let's add the all-rounders to this tier list. First we have Charizard, currently terrible Pokemon in top and bot path. Jungle also not the greatest, but I think B+ is where it belongs. I mean, Exit helped a lot, but then again, every other Pokemon also got Exit, right? So like the tier list still kind of stays the same, honestly. But it's a nice item for it. That definitely helped make Charizard a bit better. Machamp currently feels pretty mid again. But I think just because he has strong engage and decent laning phase, B+ in my opinion. In central area, cannot recommend. Rapidash though. Rapidash is decent again, but I still don't like it in top and bot path too much. I think B+ because it can easily stack still. And in central area, in my opinion, it is good again. It is good again, but with Smart Strike and Gleam, And again, I would prefer playing it in central area. You need kind of blue buff, you need experience, and then it does a lot of damage, specifically also with Drive Lance, and of course getting that buff on the latest patch. Dragon Knight in top and bot path, can't recommend. And in central area, solid 8 here. Gyarados, I think, is pretty decent right now. It's just a solid top and bot path Pokemon, very reliable, into A+. In central area, definitely into the lowest tier. Mewtwo X is such a weird Pokemon. I really don't know how to rank it. I don't know, man. I don't know. I mean, it's still Mewtwo X. It's annoying, it has good point and click. Maybe B+. And in central area into the B tier. Azumarill does struggle a good amount in the meta right now, but I think B+ is still very fair for it. And in central area into B tier. Scizor I really don't like right now. It's just a good counter. It's a good counter pick though. If you have a good counter pick to something in the meta, but there's a lot of Raichu as well. Which, you know, you take a lot of damage from. So, I mean, Scizor is a good Pokemon late in draft. Otherwise, it's pretty mid, I would say. Same in central area. It just always depends what the enemies have. But it has a lot of potential in central area because of blue buff, high experience, and you can turn into a very unkillable god. But the enemies have to have the right team comps for it. Definitely. Scyther a bit higher when it comes to top and bot path, and also I think Scyther is very good right now in central area, but it's also something you just have to put a lot of work into. A lot of practice goes into Scyther, so most players will not be playing it. Suicune, in my opinion, still S. In top and bot path, just very frustrating to deal with. So much CC, doesn't do a lot of damage anymore. I mean, it still does a lot of damage, though, too. It's just so much CC. While in central area, I can't really recommend. It's not definitely not a central area Pokemon. Would not recommend playing it there. It's just a... It's similar to Voltec a Pikachu, kinda, or Blizzard Avalanche Ninetales. It's gonna set up your team for KOs, but it's not a carry on its own. Neither does need a lot of experience, so yeah. Tyranitar top and bot path can work, definitely, but again, also very XP share reliant. But I think it's a solid central area Pokemon into the A tier. Blaziken has fallen off. I feel like, I mean, Blaziken is struggling currently a bit, just for the reason that there's so much damage in the game. But I would still put it into A. You know, except Bracer, Drive Lance, we had the Speedster meta. It's difficult for Blaziken to really get something going, but I definitely think it's still solid. A in top and bot path and A+ in central area. Metagross I like a lot lately. I think solid A in top and bot path, and also A+ in central area. Also, Exit Brace, of course, is insane on Metagross. Bigger shields from Gyro Ball, and of course, also more Gyro Balls. So, makes it even a better central area Pokemon, because you have blue buff combined with that, right? Have a full attack damage build. So, it's very, very scary. So, then we have Lucario, I think solid B, B+. Just always a solid, reliable Pokemon. And in central area into C tier. Garchomp has fallen off a bit, I would say, definitely. But I think I'm going to still put it into A on both tier lists. But you can, I mean, it got nerfed. It got nerfed very hard. They cut his crit rate in half. But you can still have some builds on Garchomp that definitely can make it a super good carry. Aegislash, solid A. And central area, I think also maybe A even. It's a good central area Pokemon because blue buff for White Guard with Exit Bracer. And then you also get to level 7 pretty safely. Only problem is that, of course, can get invaded, but you do have Shadow Sneak for good early game damage, so it kind of makes up for it, and you can have very good team fighting. Three, in my opinion, is a solid A tier Pokemon when it comes to top and bot path. Central area, it's a bit weird as well, because it used to rely on attack weight stacks, which is kind of gone now, because you can just run Exit Bracer, which are much easier to get throughout the game, which makes Serena still have good late game damage. So I think B+ now, moving it up a bit into the central area tier list. But I would say recommend playing it in top and bot path and still stacking attack weight and Exit Bracer at the same time. Mimikyu in top and bot path, I think it's just an annoying Pokemon. Mimikyu is just so annoying. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like it just needs a lot of experience though. I can always just find KOs. It's just a frustrating Pokemon. And in top and central area goes maybe into... Oh, this is difficult. This is actually difficult to place. Yeah, maybe A+, I would say. You should put it into S tier, but I think A+ makes... I mean, it also got Exit Bracer, whatever. Mimikyu is just frustrating. I was gonna put it into S tier. I don't care. Now, Buzzwole, with the Leech Life buffs and Leech Life now being its best build, I definitely think it goes into A+, maybe even S tier potential. I'm not sure yet, because like team fighting can still be difficult, but Buzzwole is absolutely disgusting. You can even play it in central area. Yeah, Buzz for Leech Life is currently, I mean, just making it unstoppable is such a huge buff. And it wasn't the only buff, right? It also got a buff on its passive, and there was even another buff on its boosted right or something. So, like, it got a lot of buffs on this patch. And Buzz for definitely feels very criminal to play right now. Failings, put into A tier, but again, Failings is only a counter pick. You have to counter pick Failings, otherwise it falls apart. So, but you can pick it in blind pick and just hope the enemies don't have counters to it. But Ironhead Beat Up is even one of the highest performing builds currently in the game, and that also makes it a good Central Area Pokemon at the same time. Just love damage. But I'm think A. I'm just gonna put into A just because it can be countered easily. Zacian currently, I think, is an absolute monster again. It feels like it. X-Bracer as well existing. I mean, I had some crazy Zacian games. Its win rate is very high. I don't know if he was bugged for a while, but I think it got fixed, and his win rate is still insanely high. So gotta respect that as well. And I played Zacian myself a bit, and Play Rough and Sacred Sword felt absolutely insane in all of those games. Wicked Blow Shifu is alright. Nothing crazy right now. Solid A in Central Area, but one of the lowest tiers, or the lowest tier in Top and Bot Path. Then we have its twin Surging Strikes with Shifu. Also, I mean, actually, I'm going to put it up a bit higher. I'm going to put it C tier in Top and Bot Path, and Surging Strikes into D tier, and Surging Strikes also into A at the same time. Actually, I do think it's A+. I do think it's A+. There's just some difficult matchups, but it feels honestly pretty good right now on the meta. Cerulege? I really don't see anyone playing it, I'm going to be honest. But it's okay still. I think B+ is fair, even in Top and Bot Path. And in Central Area, a solid A. Tinkaton. I mean, Tinkaton also is just it just needs the right matchups. If Tinkaton has the right matchups, it's a good Pokemon. Otherwise, it's somewhere down here. So maybe it's a good late game draft pick, maybe a good blind pick, you know, Pokemon. But if first picking it in draft is definitely very risky. If enemies have too much range or something, or too much CC, it's very miserable to play. And in Central Area, it should never be played. Now to the Speedsters, who all got nerfed again, pretty much. So, I mean, I guess the tier is kind of going to revert a bit itself. I think Gengar with Hex is a solid B tier in Top and Bot Path, even though I would still prefer it over Cerulege or something, honestly. So, Hex is just still pretty good, especially also with Drive Lens. So, B+, probably pretty fair. Dodrio is just, again, the secret, one of the best Speedsters for, I mean, since its release almost now. Goes into A+. Absol, solid A, I would say. Still very annoying to deal with. Definitely. Leafeon into A+, maybe even S tier, but I think S tier I'm gonna put. Wait, I did put him to Central Area too. Wait, where was I? Gengar. Gengar, Central Area, A+, Dodrio, S tier, Absol, S tier, Leafeon S tier. There you go. I almost forgot to put them into Central Area tier list. Okay. Yeah, I think that looks fine. Darkrai Top and Bot Path is okay. I think Darkrai is just a frustrating Pokemon to deal with. A+ in Central Area, A in Lane. Zoroark depends a lot on Comfey, but doesn't matter what, it's a disgusting Pokemon if played well. Talonflame, also still very good. I mean, all of these still got semi-buff because of X-Bracer, right? Current reduction on Speedsters with more damage is just amazing. It's meta pretty much in every single build for every Speedster right now. So it definitely helped them to still keep some strength even after all the nerfs. And some of them even kept some buffs, right? So, for example, Muscarada. But yeah, Talonflame, ST in Central Area, definitely super frustrating Pokemon to deal with. I mean, maybe the Speedsters are a bit too high, though. I mean, Darkrai Lane, I mean, hard to make this decision, honestly. Hard to make some of these decisions. Maybe some more should be an A+ too, but I don't really see who I would put into A+ right now. I mean, honestly, the game feels pretty balanced right now, not gonna lie. So, yeah, there's not really any big outline, it's just annoying Pokemon existing, I feel like sometimes. Zaora still seems pretty good, also because X-Bracer on the chart is absolutely insane. So I'm going to put into S in Central Area and Top Path into A+. Yeah. Then we have the last Speedster, which is Meowscarada, which also, my A tier is filling up like crazy. I'm not happy with my A tier right now. There's so many Pokemon in A tier. But I don't know, maybe I can put some into A+, but not really either, I would say. Not really. Nope. I'm looking. Yeah. I mean, honestly, it still looks fine to me. Maybe Zoroark A+? Nah. Let's just keep it this way. See what happens. Muscarada probably also goes into the A tier, right? Is there the flower trick buff though? No, actually, I don't know. I think this Gerada is very strong right now. Double team and flower trick is super annoying. Super, super annoying to deal with. So I'm going to put into A+ and ST in center area. And that's it for the Speedster, which I don't know if I like this ranking though. I feel like honestly, Dark Vine top and bot path, I'm going to put into B+. Move it down a bit. It's not the worst top and bot path Pokemon, but I guess it's lacking compared to the others maybe. Absol. I feel like Absol top and bot path has also lost value. So it's definitely something you probably should be playing in center area. I mean, even Night Slash was also nerfed, right, again. So, yeah. Maybe this. And Zoroark in top and bot path. There's also definitely better choices there. It's so hard to rank them. But maybe this is more fair. But, I mean, again, you guys can see how much I'm struggling between A+ and B, or A and B+. So, you know there's somewhere in between. I mean, in the end, right, if you actually watch this video, which I hope you do on the site maybe, to hear some of my explanations, you will understand that there's somewhere in between, and you didn't just skip to the end of this video to see the entire tier list, as of course I'm hoping for. And yeah, that makes it a bit weird, but I think this is fine. This looks now fine to me. Next up, we have the Defender Pokemon, which I think Blastoise also just a solid Pokemon. Surf Hydro Pump is always useful, and its Unite move. Same for Slowbro, just two very reliable Defender Pokemon. Lapras definitely has, I mean, I think B+ for Lapras definitely fits, as it's not a bad Pokemon. I mean, B+ again is always Pokemon you can definitely play and carry on, depending on the scenario. Snorlax, I think, is pretty good right now, goes into A. My opinion, Umbreon is still S tier, is just the most versatile Defender Pokemon. Pretty much as anything, super annoying. Ho-Oh, also into A. Mamoswine has definitely fallen down a bit, but maybe B is a bit too harsh still, so... I mean, actually, probably B. Put into B. Crussell also has definitely lost a lot of power. But, I mean, I kind of rank the defenders, not compared to, like, Scizor or something. It's just in their own role, they're kind of getting ranked right here. I would say Trevenant still. Very annoying despite the nerfs. I mean, I don't even mind Trevenant getting nerfed. It's just an annoying Pokemon. But I think the nerf does put it into A tier. Then we have Goodra, which is currently still the worst defender, which also got nerfed for some reason. I don't think it's C tier. Or maybe it's actually C tier. I mean, I don't know why they nerfed Goodra. It doesn't make any sense. It really just makes no sense at all. I mean, I can't recommend picking it right now. I really cannot. And Greedent. Yeah, I mean, Greedent is fine. Goes into the B+ tier. Now we have the last role that you all guys, of course, care about, which are supporter Pokemon, right? Yeah, who doesn't like supporter Pokemon? As we have Clefable, which is going to mess up my tier, so I'm going to have to readjust the view in a bit, which is a solid counter pick into, depending on what the enemies have, goes into the B+ tier. Then we have Wigglytuff, which goes into B. It's just, I mean, Wigglytuff it's definitely something you can play, definitely. I mean, but obviously nothing to write home about. I'm gonna say it's Psyduck still, disgusting, can be banned, S tier Pokemon, even after getting nerfed 20 times by now. Mr. Mime has fallen off a bit, but I think B+ is still very fair for it. Blissey is still S tier. Sableye, solid B+. You just have to know how to play Sableye. I hope that most of you don't, because I don't like playing in Sableye, especially good Sableye players. Absolute pain. Hooper. I mean, I think I should put into A+. Usually I put Hooper in S, but I mean, maybe it's also still S tier. But yeah, I mean, Hooper's somewhere in between. Definitely. Comfy heavily depends on who you are supporting, right? It's just also Semitone, Clefable, I guess, depending. But I mean, I don't want any one of you to play Comfy, honestly. And Eldegoss is also still a solid A+ tier. Honestly, I don't know how I'm feeling about this tier list. I just haven't made one in a while. I feel like the meta is kind of difficult to figure out right now. I mean, I don't think it's anything too crazy, but as always, let me know in the comments what you think about this entire tier list and what you would maybe do different. Always curious to see some of your opinions. There's some I would definitely question myself, some placements where I'm like, yeah, I don't know, maybe this is definitely better, but being up, down, or one down compared to the real position, if someone like, Duraludon I have in B tier, but he's somewhere like here, that's a bit more bad, right? If someone has like a 2 like tier difference, and where I put them. But I think most of Pokemon are like either where they are or like one position away from it. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this tier list video, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye!